Welcome to this explainer briefing from Project 54. Look, today we're dissecting exactly why legacy systems are structurally failing in the modern energy transition. We're going to give you the precise blueprint for a system that actually works. This is revenue architecture engineered.
Let's jump right into the macro environment, which is frankly incredibly volatile right now. Just between 2019 and 2024, B2B energy sales cycles elongated by a massive 25%. Why is that happening? Well, decarbonization mandates and these really complex new product arrays are demanding an immediate structural overhaul of your revenue operations. Those legacy manual systems, they just can't survive this high-regret procurement environment anymore.
So here is your engineering blueprint. We'll be systematically covering 6 critical layers: the structural energy shift, core CRM automation, quote-to-cash digitization, advanced metering, predictive churn, and finally, engineering implementation.
All right, layer 1, the structural energy shift, specifically looking at decentralization and volatility. We are rapidly moving away from centralized commodity supply. We're now operating in these decentralized, service-oriented ecosystems defined by absolute volatility. Decarbonization multiplies your product complexity, and honestly, it completely fractures your buying committees. Suddenly, you've got a CFO demanding price certainty, an ops manager who just wants reliability, a sustainability officer zeroed in on emissions, and procurement rigorously enforcing compliance. Without an omni-channel CRM architecture, trying to track all those disparate threads creates severe bottlenecks in enterprise deals that, let's face it, already drag on for 6 to 24 months.
Moving to layer 2, core CRM automation workflows, where we focus on engineering your pipeline velocity.
To handle that multi-stakeholder complexity, energy sales require highly engineered workflows built on precise operational triggers. We're not talking about generic, subjective sales stages here. You need strict qualification frameworks like MEDDIC or BANT. These frameworks provide structured logic that translates technical milestones directly into automated stage progressions. So, if a deal stalls past your historical benchmarks, the system absolutely doesn't sit around waiting for human intuition. It automatically routes the record and triggers alerts for immediate intervention. Okay, layer 3, quote-to-cash digitization. This is entirely about eliminating revenue leakage. The transition from a qualified lead to an actual commercial contract is where you introduce severe operational risk and price volatility. Think about the execution gap. When you replace manual CPQ configurations, which usually suffer an order-to-ERP lag of days, with automated API tariff engines featuring end-to-end e-signatures, you literally shrink that lag down to minutes. This speed is absolutely crucial. It prevents your quotes from becoming price invalidated before the ink is even dropped. And the financial impact of closing that execution gap? It's immense. Eliminating those manual bottlenecks can potentially increase your wholesale revenue by 26%. Plus, automated workflows reconcile and calculate broker commissions with exact 99.95% precision. No more guesswork. Layer 4 is advanced metering infrastructure or proactive operational intelligence. This is where we shift from being reactive to having proactive operational visibility. Integrating advanced metering infrastructure, or AMI, directly into your CRM basically creates a real-time digital twin of your customers' consumption. By connecting AMI and SCADA feeds with an API-first architecture, you enable high-fidelity, automated interventions. We're talking about things like load disaggregation to spot unreported EVs for targeted upselling, or proactive SMS outage notifications triggered by last gasp meter signals. That one automated action alone drives 50% of customer satisfaction during an outage. Now, when you have AI predictive lead scoring process those exact usage signals right alongside behavioral intent, the mathematical improvements are just undeniable. Organizations implementing advanced scoring are reporting up to a 77% boost in lead generation ROI and an 80% jump in sales productivity. It fundamentally re-engineers how your sales team prioritizes their entire day.
That brings us to layer 5, predictive churn mitigation, protecting your baseload revenue.
Look, in competitive retail energy markets where annual churn hits 30 to 35%, reactive save desks are just a failure. They don't work. Instead, your system needs to generate a holistic risk profile by fusing transactional data, service complaint frequency, usage deviations, and competitor pricing. By utilizing advanced machine learning ensemble models like XGBoost, companies can now identify at-risk accounts with up to 95% accuracy, and that's before the customer even picks up the phone to cancel.
Here's the structural proof of why this matters. Automated personalized outreach triggered the exact millisecond a high-risk score is calculated, allows utilities to retain over $10 million annually per 2 million customers. The tech actually identifies the exact variable driving the risk, which allows for really precise consultative problem solving. But of course, all of this automated orchestration is operating right at the intersection of critical infrastructure and personal data. So, privacy by default workflows are non-negotiable to guarantee strict regulatory compliance. We're talking global data privacy laws like GDPR and CCPA, as well as energy-specific mandates like FERC and REMIT. The system has to comprehensively log communications and enforce consent protocols to literally engineer risk right out of your process. Finally, Layer 6, engineering successful implementations. Let's talk about the crawl, walk, run methodology. We have to acknowledge the reality on the ground here. Despite the clear mathematical imperative we've just gone through, up to 70% of energy CRM implementations fail. And honestly, they don't fail because of the tech. They fail because of organizational misalignment, sheer resistance to change, and incredibly poor user adoption. The mitigation strategy for this is a highly disciplined crawl, walk, run methodology. Phase 1 is your foundation. You need a ruthless data audit to get duplicates below 5%. Phase 2 is core deployment, where you strictly limit your pipeline to 7 to 9 stages for total clarity. And Phase 3 is optimization. That's where you layer AI and predictive models, but only onto stable, widely adopted foundations, because if you automate broken logic, you're just scaling chaos. Furthermore, you've got to mathematically track your deployment success against strict RevOps benchmarks. We mandate lead response times under 5 minutes. Direct selling time needs to be over 40% of a rep's day. Pipeline coverage at 3 to 5 times quota. And a guaranteed system ROI of $3 to $5 for every single dollar invested. When you look at it, it really comes down to two entirely different operational paradigms. Traditional sales CRMs are stuck relying on manual data entry, subjective quoting, and those reactive retention desks. An AI-native energy architecture, on the other hand, relies on intelligent, API-driven data, automated quoting layers, and predictive machine learning to retain your customers. One belongs in the past, and the other is engineered for the future. Which brings us to Project 54's strategic mandate for 2026, utilizing the Yantalis method. This is a very precise process. We're converting raw AMI telemetry and market pricing into structured data signals. Those signals feed predictive insights and automated orchestration. The goal? You reserve your human strategy loops strictly for closing high-value, complex enterprise contracts. Everything else is handled. So let's wrap up this briefing with our foundational thesis. Energy providers absolutely must engineer their revenue systems with the exact same precision as their physical grid assets. Relying on disjointed, siloed data in a decarbonized, highly volatile market, it's a structural failure. Which leaves us with a final, rather provocative thought for you and your leadership team to evaluate right now. Is your revenue engine genuinely engineered for the extreme volatility of 2026, or is it structurally destined to fail? Thank you for engaging with this explainer briefing. It's time to build.